Hello, beautiful people. Okay, so I got the question on my YouTube channel asking about how do we know when cutting someone out is really what we should be doing for our personal growth, and how do we know when we're doing it from a place of actually stopping ourselves from growing and just preventing ourselves from learning what we need to learn from the relationship and allowing that relationship to make us stronger and more intelligent. And I'm going to make a much longer video on this because this topic is really big and there kind of isn't a short answer to the question. But I do want to make a short video right now, which is what I'm doing, to kind of get you started thinking about how to discern when it's really healthy to cut someone out of your life and that really is the answer, and when we're just doing it from a place of kind of wounding and we're protecting ourselves. So the first thing that we're gonna arrive at is when we can fully accept the behavior of someone else. This is how we're going to be able to discern this answer for ourselves, because there, like I said, there isn't a black and white answer. There isn't that this is always right and this is always wrong. We have to understand that for each relationship and each time in our life, the answer to this question is going to be different. And so discerning it for ourselves starts with, can we let go of the delusion of how we think this other person should be behaving, what we want them to be doing, how we want them to be acting, and fully just accept how they are acting and how they are as a person right here, right now. So that's the first thing, is we have to let go of what we want them to be and embrace what they actually are. And then we do that not in just to say just anyone can treat us any way they want and it's always our job to be okay with that. It's we embrace it so that we can move beyond our fantasy of what we want this person to be, and we can arrive at the reality of what this person actually is right now. So that's the first step. Accepting their behavior as this is who they are, this is what they are capable of, this is the way that they behave, and releasing our projection on what they should be and what they should be doing and what they shouldn't do and what they shouldn't be doing, and letting go of that fantasy that we have of what we want from them. Second step is to ask ourselves, are they actually being abusive, or are they simply not meeting a need or meeting an expectation that we have of them? So as we accept their behavior for how it is, we can say, okay, now what is actually hurting me about this behavior? Is it that I am expecting them to be something for me that they're not being? I'm expecting them to do something for me that they're not doing. I'm projecting my own way of being onto them and expecting them to be like that when they are a separate person from me, who has different needs than me, who is not here to meet my needs, who is not here as a person that is either good or bad for me, but is a person who's just here on their own volition. They are a person outside of me who is, like I say, not here to meet my needs or not meet my needs, be toxic to me, not toxic to me, but they are their own person. So am I expecting them to meet needs for me that I don't know how to meet for myself, or that I feel like I can't meet for myself? And even within that, can I figure out how their behavior is hurting me? And if I recognize that it's because they're not living up to an expectation that I have of them, they're not meeting a need that I would want them to meet, they're not fulfilling something in me that I'm expecting them to fulfill, can we communicate that to them and allow them the opportunity to consent or not consent? Do they actually want to meet that need? Are they capable of doing that for us? And if not, right? And if what we thought was abuse was really just our expectation not being met, usually cutting them out of our lives probably isn't the answer, right? That's okay. I need to learn how to meet this need on my own, and that's how we use relationship as growth, right? We use the relationship of how are you disappointing me? How am I feeling like you're not meeting my expectation? How am I feeling like you're abusing me? And asking ourselves again that question of, is it really just a need that I have that I don't know that I have, that I'm not aware of? What is hurting me about this person is just that there's this uncommunicated, even to myself, expectation and need that I have of this other person to fulfill in my life that they're not fulfilling. And then when I come into awareness of that, can I meet that need on my own? Or can I communicate that to them and have them either consent, yes, I can do that, or no, I can't? And like I say, I think the healthiest place to get is we communicate what we would like from this other person, they consent or not consent, and we know how to be okay whether they can fulfill that need for us or not. We learn how to meet that need on our own, or go get it met in some other way with some other relationship, some other person, and we're not expecting this other person to always be able to fulfill this need. So it's always their choice whether they're going to engage with us in this way or not. So like I say, in my relationship with my husband, there are times where having him validate my emotions, that what I'm feeling is real and I'm not making it up, is just really helpful for me when I'm getting stuck and I'm getting trapped in my own emotional stuff, and I'm just feeling like my childhood stories that are coming up, that I'm just making it up and I'm just blowing it out of proportion and I should be able to be okay right now and I'm not. And just having him say, like, look, honey, I see what you're going through and it's real, your emotions are real, you're not making it up. Him validating me is just really helpful. But the thing is that it's not his job to always validate me. I can't have this expectation that every time I'm struggling to validate myself, that he has to do this for me, and if he doesn't, he's abusing me. Yeah? It's, okay, I see what I wanted from him. I see when he didn't validate me, why that hurt me. And that's not an abusive behavior on his behalf. That's me having a need that I would want from him, and I can communicate that to him. Hey, can you validate me right now? And if he can't, I can do that on my own. And so then I learn. And so that's how we use, like I say, relationships for personal growth. Am I allowing this person who is disappointing us to help us understand needs that we may not even be aware that we have, that we're projecting onto them? Or, like I say, characteristics of ourselves that we are expecting this other person to have, and this way of being, that expecting them to serve us in some way. And where we can start to say, okay, this is a person outside of me. This is a person separate from me. They're not here to just meet my needs. They're not here to be like me. They're not here to reflect back to me my choices and validate me in being like me. So can I allow this person to continue in their behavior exactly as they are, not expecting them to change, and appreciate them as a person outside of me, who's different than me, who's not here to meet my needs, and just be in a relationship with them without having expectation of them? And like I say, we fulfill needs for each other. That's normal. That's interdependency. But learning how to not need it from another person. In that, if my husband can't fulfill that for me today, I can do it for myself, or I can find someone else. I can appreciate it when he can give it, and I can give it to myself when he can't. And that's an awareness that came from a lot of years of me expecting him to validate me and feeling like he was abusing me, that he wasn't. And then I started to say, okay, no, what am I actually wanting here? Validation. Oh, okay, well, that's not actually his job, okay? So there's that part of it. And then the second part is we accept their behavior for exactly how they are and not expecting them to change. And we might then realize that, okay, the real reality is this person is just really hurting, they're really wounded, and they are constantly on the attack. They're constantly attacking my character, they're constantly gaslighting me, they are blaming me for their unhappiness, they're scapegoating their pain onto me, and there's just this continual expectation of me to be something for them that I'm not, and there's a continual attacking of my character, or attacking of what I'm doing, attacking of what I am as a human being. And if we can look at their behavior and say, okay, I completely release the idea that they're ever going to change. And it's not that they're not meeting a need for me, they're not fulfilling something in that, it's that they're genuinely attacking me, they're genuinely not capable of taking responsibility for their own emotions, they're constantly puking their own emotions onto me or whatever. Then we can get to a place of asking ourselves, okay, is the relationship worth that trauma that I'm going to have to clean up every time I interact with them? Or is it not? Right? If we really accept them and their behavior for how it is, we let go of this fantasy that they're going to be different. Is this really behavior that serves our collective growth? Or is this a relationship where they are just in pain and they can't They can't take responsibility for it. And I mean, we're not perfect. None of us are perfect. There's going to be times where we puke our emotions onto other people. We project, we whatever. But if you then go to that person and say, like, look, I feel like you were attacking me and it didn't really have anything to do with me, and they are not capable of taking responsibility for themselves, again, that's then your choice. Do you want to stay in that relationship knowing that they're probably going to continue to do that for you, to you, and with you, and then you are then accepting that this is what this person is, this is what this relationship is going to be, I'm going to have to clean up this mess every single time I talk to them, and that's a choice you get to make. Or you can say, look, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. And sometimes we have to take a break from people, and then we will realize, there is a way of interacting with them where we know kind of what their triggers are, and we navigate that in some way. And there may be times where we just say it's not worth it. I don't want to have to navigate their triggers. I don't want to have to constantly be figuring out what's going to make them lash out at me and attack me and scapegoat onto me and blame me. And again, you can always ask. You can say, like, look, I'm feeling like you're blaming me a lot for your emotions. You're scapegoating your emotions onto me a lot. Is there some way we can talk about this? Is there something I can do to support you in getting your needs met outside of me, and seeing that your pain isn't being caused by me? And again, sometimes it's going to be, is your pain really being caused by me? Like, we can still take responsibility for ourselves if we're hurting others. And if someone says, like, look, again, not every time someone blames you for their pain is it a scapegoat. Sometimes we really are hurting other people, and we really are being abusive, and we can always check ourselves in that. But again, when it comes down to, like, look, this person's pain has nothing to do with me, and it's being triggered when they're around me, or they're blaming it on me and all these things, then you just get to decide, is that a relationship that's worth it to you or not? Okay? So I'm going to make a much longer video on this later, but that's my short answer. What are you needing? What are you projecting? What are you wanting? Can you communicate that need? Can you communicate that and ask for what you're wanting, and give that other person the free will to be a person who's not there to meet your needs? Consent to help you when they can, and you start to be able to understand how to meet it for yourself when they can't. And then third thing, if you're being blamed, shamed, projected, and scapegoated and all of these things, manipulated in any way, again, take responsibility for yourself. Where am I allowing this person to do this? Am I hurting them in some way? Am I abusive in some way? Am I, again, projecting myself onto them? And then if not, is it worth it to me? So we start with really accepting their behavior. This is how they are. This is what they're like. I'm not expecting you to be different. So now, what would I like to do with that? What would I choose to do with that? Okay? And again, sometimes it's just going to be, I can't. I need to take a break from this relationship. I want to leave, and then we come back later. Right? It's not cut and dry. It's what feels best for you right now. When your intention is to take responsibility for yourself, when your intention is to grow, when your intention is to learn to meet your own needs, when your intention is to learn how to relate to people in a way where they are not there for you. They are there as their own individual on their own journey. And do you want to walk your path with this person or not? And there's no right or wrong answer. It's just totally up to you. Because again, there are going to be relationships where it's just putting your hand on a burner every time. The other person is just too in pain. They can't not project onto you. They can't not attack you. They can't not feel attacked by you just being yourself. And sometimes the lesson in that is really just, we got to let these people go. And that's not wrong. That's not right. Is it wrong to stop putting your hand on a burner when you realize it's just going to burn you every time? Of course not. That's smart. That's intelligent. And then other times it's going to be, no, I really can navigate this relationship with this person. So it's totally in that ballpark, okay? So like I say, I'm going to make a much longer video on this, but there's some food for thought, and I'll see you in the next video.